11K Part 2: Unmasking the Truth and Exposing the Lies. Defining the Scriptures for the bride and wife, her instructions, as this is what she does, her purpose in becoming. Again, this is a continuation from 11K Part 1, broken down into smaller pieces. Please watch K1 first before proceeding, as these two are contiguous. An additional piece of information. Those who've been indoctrinated and they say that they follow Jesus's commandments to love God and to love people, I'm going to share something that may change your paradigm. Luke 10, verses 25 through 28. And behold, a certain lawyer, an expert on the law, stood up and tested him, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And he said to him, What is written in the Torah, the law, and what is your reading? So he answered and said, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And he said to him, You have answered rightly. Do this, and you will live. And in another place, in Matthew 22, verses 37 through 40, Jesus said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is first and great commandment. And the second, like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. By the way, he didn't say that these were the only commandments. What most do not know, as I certainly didn't, is that this particular phrase is a Hebrew idiom, which is a summary of the law, Torah, of the instructions, as it was a way for people to make evident their love for God and for the neighbor with the goal of becoming one, unified, true unity as one. So there's two words that first need to be shared. The word hang, by definition, means a hook to hang meat. So the meat is found in the law and the prophets. The word law mentioned in this passage is different from another word, namusa, found in the New Testament. And this is the only place that this word is used in the entire Brit Hadashah, the New Testament. If a word is only used once, then it's extremely important. This specific word means instruction, the law. There was only one law, the Torah. So let me remind you again that there was not a New Testament or a new law. So Yahshua was referring to the Tanakh, the Old Testament. Remember the Tav, the first letter of the acrostic, which stands for Torah? It's also the mark and the sign of the covenant. So, what was this word that Yahshua was using in the Brit Hadashah? The only time that it is mentioned in the entire Brit Hadashah. It is the word Oraita. Oraita. This word has the meaning of the law and instruction. But look, we have the word or, the letters I circled. This is the Hebrew word for light. So law, the Torah, is light. This should automatically make you think of the Lamed, who are the teachers of light. Several writers in the Brit Hadashah, New Testament, wrote Jerusalem, which is how we see it in the Old Testament, the Tanakh, as LAWLESSNESS. These are the teachers of light who will teach the law of light that will make one completed and safe in mind, body, and estate. Do you still want to throw out the law, the Torah, and the Tanakh, believing that it does not pertain any longer? So if that didn't convince you, Did you know that Jesus, Yashu Isa, when referring to the 2 commandments, was quoting from the Tanakh, the Hebrew scriptures? Here you can see what he said from Luke 10, verse 27. We will be using this to refer to these other passages. Let's compare it to the words found in the Tanakh from the first 5 books considered to be the Torah. Deuteronomy 6:5. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Deuteronomy 10, verses 12 and 13. And now, Israel, what does the Lord your God require of you? But to fear the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways and to love him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes which I command for you today for your good. Leviticus 19:18. You shall not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I, the Lord. So the Torah, as being rightly divided, the Tav, from the word Tanakh, which stands for covenant. Torah is the instruction manual, the law of light, and is what we hear and do, Shema, to inherit eternal life. It gives us the power, the means, and direction to be marked with the sign of the covenant, and then sealed as one who is of the family of God, as an Aleph. The tamed and yoked teachers of light who will goad you on in showing you the door that leads to eternal life, delivering you, as they were given the authority to speak this revelation because they became it. A Hebrew, an Israel, as Israel, one who is crossed over using the blueprint through the Aleph Bayit Ivri, are those that are crossing over to the Father. If you throw out the Tanakh, especially the Torah, then you will live in a world where men will be lovers of themselves. Remember Narcissus? You will become narcissistic beasts. Where have we heard that? 2 Timothy chapter 3. But know this, in the last days, perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than the lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power. And from such people, turn away. Without the instructions, which is light, we will be walking in the darkness. Second Thessalonians, verses 7 and 10 through 12. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth. Mother's spiritual teaching of the covenant, that they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send them a strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned, who did not believe the truth, Emet, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Deuteronomy 6:25. Then it will be for righteousness for us if we are careful to observe all these commandments before the Lord our God as he commanded us. Righteousness is walking in the commandments. Unrighteousness is not walking in them. Ephesians 5, 6 through 11. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for the wrath of God comes upon the sons of disobedience. Therefore do not be partakers with them. For you were once darkness, but now light. Light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit, in all goodness, chesed, righteousness, zadik, and truth, emet. Finding out what is acceptable to the Lord, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. Obedience. Entering into the threshold covenant spiritually, obeying Shema, the covenant, walking in righteousness and in the light. Disobedience comes from listening to the preachers who teach the lie and have empty words that end up leading to darkness. The false shepherds. Since we are the third temple, made of flesh and not of stone, we are being brought into the book of the covenant and not back into the book of the law. The last sacrifice was made. It is finished. No more witness against us. The book of the covenant, the book of the becoming, the law of light, is the rebuilt covenant, Brit Hadashah, to make us new as Melchizedek's, kings and queens of righteousness, with Yeshua as our high priest. Don't walk in the darkness as one who is lawless with no oil in your lamp, but rather be the light, one who walks with your lamp ablaze, as new Le'orshalem coming down, a people group full of love and light, who are one, unified with the Father of lights, who may enter into the wedding chamber, and after the door, it will be shut. They will never have to hear "Depart from me," but rather, "Well done, good and faithful servant. I now call you friend and wife, as I know you." Shalom, shalom, to Leor Shalom.